Why, hello, vendor besties. Welcome back.
Season 2, episode 11.
What?
Now with more Vanessa.
With more Vanessa.
The traveling
Now with
planner.
more Vanessa.
Yesterday, I got to put together an outline all about wedding shows from the vendor's perspective, or no, from the planner's perspective. I've never planned a wedding show. So that was really fun. Thank you for the opportunity to
Do that.
pretend like I know stuff. But this is actually why this is important.
So it worked out for you.
A lot of vendors don't know anything about wedding shows from the planner's perspective. And we have 3 planners here that have some experience with that. So we wanted to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and talk about these amazing shows because we put them on. Well, they do.
We do. And you join. You make cool.
So first off, what's kind of the difference between wedding shows as like the traditional sense with like the big expo settings and then the venue-based shows that you guys like to put on?
I'll take that since you're looking at me. I hate big wedding expos. I'm a vampire.
This
today.
one, can we start over?
I hate the big event.
No, I'll just reverse that and it'll sound normal.
Okay, so
I'll start from there. It's good.
Yikes.
I'm happy to take that question because I hate the giant wedding expos. I do not like the industrial feeling of walking through a big space with everybody behind black tablecloth booth 10 by 10. It's all very sterile. I don't think that it shows what vendors are capable of. And in weddings specifically, and many other kinds of events, but weddings specifically, your ability to be creative is a huge part of selling your business and your talents. And so how creative can you be in this box? So that's the first thing why I don't like those big wedding shows. And so the shows that Emily and I both produce, we try to not be that.
Also, Veil and Vows was initially created to be everything opposite that those wedding shows are. When you walk in them, what's the predominant color you see? White.
Yeah. Aside from all the black tables. But yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All white dresses, lots of white flowers, lots of white signage. Another big difference is these smaller venue-based shows, smaller being the key part of that. Like, we're limited to the size of the property, and if we're doing it in an off-season month, weather is always a factor because nobody wants to hang out at a wedding show in the rain, vendors especially, but like guests just won't show up if it's nasty outside and they have to be outside. So Veil and Vows, we're limited to what's on the property and what we can cover with tents. And for West Side weddings, it's what we can fit in the barn and on the one patio that's kind of protected from the wind. And then we hope for good weather and we can spread out. But so size is one thing. And then the cost to the vendors is the other big major thing that I don't like about the big shows. There's a couple of big expos that happen in Portland, and the rates are anywhere from $900 if you get in early to, an endless amount, really, depending on how big of a space you want, if you want power, if you want all these extra amenities.
Sometimes they can lock you in, too, to contract
Yes,
rates.
we've seen a bunch of vendors in town that have an ongoing contract, and they just get charged every year, and a bunch of them don't even go to it anymore. Like, their booth is empty. But the thing that I hate about that specifically is that there are vendors whose average income for one booking is not going to cover the price of getting into the show. For a photographer or a planner, if you book one wedding out of that show, you're probably covered, ideally. But for a baker or somebody that's doing a signage, some vinyls on a couple mirrors, like how many weddings do they have to book to cover this $2,500 fee? That's astronomical. And also a thing that you don't know if you are people getting married, these shows absolutely sell your information to timeshare companies and pots and pans companies, and they are selling you to all the marketing lists. Big wedding expos, the clients and the vendors are the commodity.
So I'm going to rush us through. I'm so sorry. One other point that I want to make in favor of these small venue-based shows, and then I have another question for you, is that with the venue-based shows, the venue is also helping promote it to their client list.
Yes.
So people that are working with that venue already but haven't chosen all their vendors, they're going to get everybody in the doors as much as they can. Yep. And it's real easy to book clients because they've got a short list of things they're working for. They love the venue. The trust is already there. I mean, you're definitely going to book, and you're going to book people who are in alignment with that small curated list,
That
right?
part.
What goes into the planning of one of these events? Like, what does that actually look like? And because it's largely invisible and unpaid.
So there's a ton of logistics, of course. There's application creation. Is a ton of marketing. We have endless spreadsheets. We have a giant Google Drive that is shared.
Yeah, the Google folder is so full of stuff. It's similar to managing a wedding or another kind of event, but instead of a vendor team that's like 5 to 12 vendors, depending on the extent of all the details, we have 52 or 53 vendors for this year's spring show. And so the vendor management side, it's taking all three of us and Diana, to manage 53 vendors. Mm-hmm. And it's communication, and we're trying to do as much batch communication as possible. This one email went out to everybody, and invariably we're getting emails and DMs that are like, what about this? Please read your email. I answered that question. Can you send me the payment link? It's in your email. I can, and I will.
It's already laid out.
We laid it out, but it's a lot of work. It's a ton of behind the scenes.
There's very much a lot of behind the scenes. We have a group chat between the three of us that is
nonstop.
We are besties.
So we've got marketing, we've got logistics for the event, we've got, I'm sure, a lot of day of responsibilities.
We're showing up 2 days in advance to just put tables out around the venue and then
begin setup.
Yeah.
So for this particular show, you guys have all the planners on site, right, to kind of help you manage with pods, which I think is super creative and gives our planners who are coming an opportunity to really also showcase. Flex. Yeah. So, okay, vendor communication. What about promotion? How hard is it to get people like us to be consistently posting? How much of a difference does it make, though?
Huge. So one of the key things in our vendor tier system, upon vendor registration, we have 2 different tiers. The lower end tier, where vendors don't necessarily feel they need to want their business promoted or anything like that. They don't have to. But the higher end tier, they definitely can promote their business with us. And what that looks like is a lot of social media presence and that kind of stuff. So their business is promoted, which means they have a collaboration post on our Instagram, which gets a broader scope, which helps then want vendors to want to broadcast the show.
Getting them to use our graphics or even advertise it themselves is harder. I will say, I specifically noticed you're promoting this show way more than you promoted Westside, and that's not a judgment of any kind, but after participating in that other show, you understand more the importance of promoting it yourself, and so you're just automatically doing it. Like, we didn't have a conversation where you're like, should I do this? I'm just seeing your stuff pop up, and I'm like, hell yeah, that's great, thank you. Yeah.
And I think the vendors I am seeing promote it more are ones who have been to the show before, and so they see the value.
Yeah. But also, some of it is people that really understand all the algorithm stuff and all the interaction between those accounts. Almost any kind of interaction, and we could go all day about what those things look like, but it all boosts your visibility, and it specifically boosts your visibility to people that do not follow you.
Well, I want to. I have a thing. Please have your thing. Please. And then I have another thing. Videographers are people too.
Yes, you're not.
I remember the first time you said, come to a wedding show. I pictured Portland Expo Center and garage door style vending tables. I showed up, I was blown away. And then I kept leveling up my system, and I kept coming back, and I kept seeing the benefit. And you don't necessarily see that day, especially for a videographer, like you go home and you have 4 bookings, but you get the bookings coming in. And speaking of social media, to all you vendors going to any wedding show, but especially their wedding show, post on social media. Why? Because not everybody is going to come to the expo. Not all your clients will come to the expo. I posted a selfie story that I hate doing at one of your wedding shows, Westside, and I was like, hey, I'm out here at the wedding show. Somebody that was in a band, like their sister, like from the music industry, was getting married. So she saw that and goes, hey, you do weddings? And I was like, yeah, I do weddings, but not somebody who would ever come to that wedding show.
Yeah.
And it was a client that I booked last year as a result of that. So don't underestimate the power of social media.
I think this is one of those differences, again, between big expo shows and doing these small shows. When you're doing a smaller show, not only are you getting more face time, it's highly curated, it's more special and niche, but you have a lot more power to impact the show overall with your involvement. You get to be a lot more creative, but like, if you take some ownership of that project and of your place in it and are actually engaged with the marketing leading up to it, you can make the show better. It's like investing in yourself.
Well, and how many of those big wedding shows, I don't know of any, that promote their vendors ahead of time?
Right.
They're just promoting the show as a whole. And our small shows, we're like doing everything we can to promote the vendors for mutual
It's
benefit.
Well, Joelle honestly said it best yesterday on our official vendor list. She called it an ecosystem.
Ooh. Joelle, can we put a little link up?
8.
And honestly, it made my whole fucking day when I saw that.
That's so cute.
It should. Yeah, that's amazing.
So what's our next bullet point on this list, my friend?
Curating these type of things can be difficult. How do you manage making sure making sure the right people get into the show and the other people are
Trial and error is definitely part of it. But when I created this brainchild, or thought of this brainchild, however it came to be,
You hatched it.
I hatched it. I really just wanted to create a space and a community where, you know, the weirdos and the creative space could exist.
I think, you know, those of us that want to do more non-traditional weddings need this kind of ecosystem because that's how we're going to meet the other creatives in it and get the cross ecosystem referrals. It's one thing when you're a planner and you're not available for a date and you recommend all your planner buddies instead. That's one thing. But when it's a niche, dark, moody, spooky photographer and they book up for a date, well, now I need to find somebody that does similar kinds of editing effects to this person. And that's a lot harder if you don't already have that community. The one that I'm struggling to book right now is a perfect example of that. I'm like, okay, here's a list of these 7 photographers. Well, I like this one person's editing style, that person booked. And these other 6 people are now not a possibility. So I have to like go down my list further. But the curation, I think we start with our besties, honestly. We start with the people we have the best communication with, the people that we trust that are going to execute something. So for this particular show, splitting the show up into pods and assigning planners to that, for the most part, we're assigning planners that we know we can say, here's the whole idea. Please take it and run with it. Are you fine handling the communication with your pod? And we don't need to micromanage you. Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
In a lot of ways, too, it's us learning more about each other and learning more about our community too through this show. Because with this show being done in this new way, we're able to see more how people truly work and truly thrive under this new way.
There's absolutely been vendors that have shown interest and we have accepted them. This is over the course of all the shows, not just specifically this one right now, and then their communication is terrible, their execution is terrible, their behavior is terrible, and that's how we learn we don't want to network with them at all. Yeah. Like, not only are you not getting invited back to a show, but you're not getting a referral for a wedding either.
Yeah. It's kind of like a taste. Sorry. I was going to say it's like a little taste of like, oh, well, if I haven't worked with you at a wedding yet, if this is my first or second time working with you as a show, it's like, all right, well, if your communication is terrible,
Then I know
and
how you will be.
yeah, so kind of like all those like little bullet points that you just said. So it's like, well, I don't want to work with you at a wedding, and I wouldn't refer you to any of my clients. So,
Well, I was just going to say, it seems like the hardline problems with this are very similar to the hardline problems with vendors when you're actually planning weddings, right? Are there anything specifically that you guys immediate know for Veil and Vows or for Westside?
Yeah.
Yep.
What about paying your vendor fees?
Oh, that's hard. If people aren't applying on time, like we have to manage something of this scope with this many people, and the scope is because there's this many people. We have to have deadlines for ourselves because we need time to get all this stuff done. I'm creating all the graphics for the stuff. Emily's scheduling all the posts for the stuff. We both need giant chunks of time to get that done. So if I'm going to vendor feature you, I want to have your stuff for that 2-3 weeks in advance at a minimum. Something we learned this year that we're going to do for fall is when you apply, you are submitting your logo and your work photo and your bio in the application process, so I don't have to chase anybody down for it later. Then it's already there.
But then at the same time, if you're ordering specific, like the acrylic signage, I special order that.
Right.
So that has to be ordered within a certain time frame in order to be here for this show.
Vendor meal tickets, the bell is feeding all the vendors, and a big part of the fees being paid on time is the venue understanding how many people they're making meals for, because vendors can buy additional tickets. So part of the funding is that the venue's going to have the funding to buy the ingredients to feed us all that day, and that's not unreasonable. Any kind of deadline isn't unreasonable.
No. So, I mean, I guess the lead in here is, where is the money for the fees going? I know that,
Marketing.
well, some of these big shows, it's a huge buy-in. There's a couple shows in Portland that are really popular. Like there's like the Venue Walk, or where it's still expensive to, buy in as a vendor. Who's profiting off of this? Is anybody profiting off of this? Where's that money going? And why should vendors feel okay about that investment?
It goes back to the labor, to the bell.
Yeah, the bell gets a bunch of money. They get money for the food. They get money for chef labor and kitchen staff.
And overall labor.
Overall labor, because they are setting up all these tables, any chairs for ceremonies.
We just go and help.
Right. We help because we feel bad.
Because we're 2 extra bodily hands.
And then Emily fronts all the advertising money.
Mm-hmm. So I get paid back.
I front the money for the passports, and so I get reimbursed for that. This year, we are about to hit go on some directional signage that we're hoping to be able to reuse for future shows. And so that's an investment that it's going to go.
And then, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, and then we split what's left, honestly. We split what's left between the 3 of us, and the first show that we did the math on, what that looked like with the amount of time that we had put in, I think Emily and I, it was like $3 an hour. Yeah. To put in more intense planning work than a wedding over like 6 months.
Yeah.
At $3 an hour. Yeah. And this time we're looking at like $7 to $12 an hour.
No, and I was gonna say, even if you were making, a minimum wage.
I'd love to even make my regular rate.
Right.
That's
Like, that's
not
not
gonna
gonna happen.
But it's valuable. It's valuable for you, and you deserve the money for putting it together.
We're not
We're
trying
not
to take
doing
your vendor
this for-
fee and put it in my pocket.
Right. We do this for the love of our community. We do this for the love of our vendors, and we do
For the love of the show.
and the love of the show, and for a client.
And the car payment on the Bentley is a little steep, so submit your application.
Okay, so from the vendor side, right, for all of our fun vendors here, because
I'll
there's,
show you what they look like, because
I'll show you what they look
they
like.
clearly are not edible.
You could drink something else.
We gotta secure those better. They are
From the
terrible.
vendor side,
Chaos. Wow.
I want to touch on one thing kind of up front or at the back end. In words, guys. All right. From the vendor side, before we wrap this episode up, I think it's really important to, when you're deciding whether or not you want to participate in an event, be really realistic about the costs and all of the costs associated with that, because I think that it can be more expensive than just thinking about the booth fee. And also what all the opportunity and value is, because sometimes the value is bigger than just bookings. So Vanessa, you've done a couple shows with our team, and what do you think, if you were to kind of talk to someone who's never done one of these small scale shows, is like worth sharing about those hidden costs and the hidden values?
Well, first of all, thank you guys all so much for producing all the shows and everything. Like, it's always been such a great experience attending these and being a part of it with you guys. But you guys have always been very direct and upfront of like what the fees are, what's included, what you guys are doing in terms of work. And that's actually something that was the topic like before I even did one of your shows, was you always wanted to make sure like everyone knew where the money was going.
Yep.
So there was no questions of, okay, well, where's this percentage of money going to? It's all going to somebody who's contributed to the day of, whether it's the venue, you guys, marketing, as you guys were saying before. But hold on, my brain just turned off.
Like, where are you spending money on your booth or on prep or?
Yeah, so a lot of it goes to even my marketing of like if I'm doing pamphlets, brochures, printing out photos, if I'm doing florals, if I need to do rentals through you guys. So that's where my money is going into this. And then obviously like my time to be there to like talk to everybody, meet the couples, even meeting new vendors, and those connections. So that's like where the time and money for our side of things is going.
Yeah, and once in a while we do have, one of the reasons we try to do these so much in as much off season as possible is we've absolutely had vendors sign up and pay, and then they book a full paying gig the same date or that weekend, and they're like, I gotta back out of the show. And depending on when they do that and what those circumstances are, they understand that they're forfeiting their money because we've already done the work for the show, them included or not. And I'm thrilled for you that you got a gig, but like,
That's a decision you have to make.
it's a decision we have to make. But always like, but people, it's funny, most of them aren't even asking for their money back. They're just sad that they can't be there. And I'm like, you made a real booking. That is going to absolutely be a big deal.
Yeah.
So what's the value in doing these small shows?
This
I
is
think,
a just do, not a just don't, right?
yeah, we're kind of hitting the last bit, but I think this is really important because it's more than just you're probably going to book some orders. Like, where is the true value in participating and in that investment that you're making?
Mm-hmm. I feel like with these shows, since it's not like a big Portland expo, like I feel like it's almost a little bit more intimate in a way. Like I feel like people genuinely have more time of going to each person's booth and like talking to them rather than just being like so overstimulated and overwhelmed by like all these other booths in the room, and just kind of getting like a pamphlet and being like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll reach out to you. With West Side Weddings, I did get a booking out of it, and that couple, like I was talking to them for quite a bit of time and like really getting to know them, what they're looking for, going over my packages, and just obviously like who they are as a couple. So I feel like the smaller ones that you guys have been producing, like I feel like it's been a better out.
There's more opportunity.
Yeah, more opportunity.
You're curating customer experience. Well, they're not customers, but you're curating the experience of everyone in there, and you're doing so in the same way you would plan an event versus a big expo center where people are selling. It is overstimulating. Here, the whole goal is for people to walk in and have that sort of out of reality experience. And obviously we're all here selling, like we would like to book clients.
But it's based on their experience.
The biggest difference I think that we're really embracing this year for this first show is that you can't just walk in and go whichever way you want. So you can't immediately go to the food vendor and the free drinks and whatever. You are going to go through an immersive experience that tells a story. And so the first logistical side of that is the way that we have it planned, every guest and every vendor have the opportunity to have a conversation. You can't skip anybody. I mean, you can, but it's going to be obvious that you're not, there's not a way to skip them on accident. So that's a thing, is that everybody will get FaceTime with every guest. And the other is weddings are so creative, and we want these pods to embrace their creativity as their first and foremost example of what they do and what they offer, instead of just talking about it or showing it in a pamphlet. Demonstrating what you can do creatively is so much more impactful. Gen Z is booking on vibes, people, and they are booking on an incredible experience. And if they can experience the experience experientially, they'll give you their money.
The just don't is just don't overlook these smaller venue-based wedding shows, because you're building community and getting a chance to much more deeply connect.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the whole networking aspect.
You're
I mean,
just
we did
gonna
last
have
year.
to come to one of our shows and find out.
Yep.
Come to Veil and Vows.
Comment if you
April 18th.
came to one of the shows and what your experience was like.
Been to one of our shows.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for the conversation. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. Oh, that
I've been trying to get ahead, but I keep falling short. Sometimes it's tough getting out of bed when I'm feeling out of sorts. Call it what you will. It's just the art of standing still. I'm just trying to get it right. Call up my besties for a ride. You know the best is yet to come. Where we go, we hold strong. We've done this for so long. It's like we're stuck out on our run. You know the best is yet to come. Where we've been, they can't go. The only place we know, a million miles from our side. You know the best is yet to come.
Don't scroll. Don't scroll away from me. I
like,
can stab.
subscribe,
Hit the button.
comment,
April 18th. Veil and Vows.
share this
It's
with
already
your
on.
wedding
Everyone
pros,
knows.
share this
I mean,
with your dad, share this with your
This
cousin,
isn't airing until like
share this with your ex.
fuck me. I don't want to do that.
No.